Sorry guys, I'm a few minutes late here. So I can get this to stop trying to twist on its own. I've got it in the charger here at the moment. See if anybody comes in to say hi. Rotate this. I don't like this orientation. It really doesn't want me to do it that way. There we go. Some people are checking on here. Who we got? Let's see if I can get the feed coming up here. What's up, Steve? How you doing? Who all's on here? So we can get this live going. I'm trying to use my phone here, so we're going to see how that works. You guys hear me all right? Flint Hills, what's up, man? Sorry, guys, I'm still messing with stuff out here, trying to get some stuff set up. Trying to use the phone today, and so it's being a phone. Let's see if I can get this all to play nice. Got it plugged in so it's charging. Let's see, here we go. Doing good, bud, chilling. Jess says hello, we watching you. Nice, good to see you guys. Glad you guys are on. What's up, Val? You made it to one. You haven't been on here on one of these before. I know you've tried to catch them in the past, so glad you're here. That's awesome, Flint. I'm going to be working on making some bait today because I am massively behind on getting ready for trapping season this year. But I do have, let's see if I can get this thing out, a whole big old jar here of some very foul smelling stuff. This is a bunch of glands, all female cat glands, and I forgot to leave enough space for it to expand, and it expanded in the fridge, and I had the top of the jar loose at least, but it all came pouring out the top of the jar, so it is nasty. But I'll be working on some of that, so I'm going to make a little bit of noise today. The other thing I wanted to show you guys, something I'm going to be tinkering with this year out on the line that I'm trying, is this right here. It's not moonshine, it's just in a moonshine jar. But what I did is I took a whole bunch of catnip and silver vine, threw it in a pot with some water, and boiled it. And boiled it and boiled it and boiled it, and then let it all kind of just, I kept letting it boil even after I took all the stuff out, just so it would kind of lose a lot of that moisture and get more of a concentrate. And it smells almost like a mint tea. But I'm going to try that on the line this year and just adding some of that to my sets instead of just trying to throw just some silver vine and catnip. Just putting like a little baggie or something out. I'm going to try some of that and just kind of squirting it on the back. I also bought a huge box of sheep wool. It was like 25 pounds of sheep wool. So I've got these big containers. What it is, I just started saving like cheese balls containers and stuff like that. But this is all sheep wool. And so I've got piles of that. So I'll be using that in the back of the cages this year and see how that works. I haven't used sheep's wool before. I've always just used cotton stuffing and that sort of stuff, and added that in. I need some gloves, so I'm not touching this stuff without gloves. So hang on just a second. Some gloves, glycerin, and bait maker's compound. All right, sorry about that. Just kind of grabbing some supplies here. If you guys have never made your own bait, and you're wanting to make bait and or lure or something like that, it's always good to have glycerin. I buy my stuff from Southern Snares, And I also get some bait makers compound, and just add a little bit of that to the stuff you're making. I've done a bait making video, and you're sure if you guys have been on here at all, you've probably seen it. So that should be a little bit better. Just in my shop out back here, it's a disaster. Got to get it all cleaned up. I'm way behind this year. So anyway, what do you guys all got going on? See, Flint's at work, kind of. I need to figure out a way to get this feed to stay up so I can see it all the time. See what people are saying. Live chat, all messages are visible. So why can't I see them? There we go. So Flint Hills Trapper says effing off at work. Val finally made it to one of these. I'll just see what else going on. So you guys have any questions? What are you guys getting ready for this year? You guys going to start right at the beginning of the trapping season? Steve, did you get those bucks, that buck and that doe processed? I saw that you sent me those texts this morning. My buddy Steve, who's on here, he shot a mule deer buck and a doe today. So he's going to have a nice full freezer between that and his daughter getting her first doe this year. And he got an elk this year, so dude's killing it. Just killing it. Put some of this stuff in here. Get the lid open. Please don't break. Whew. You guys are glad you cannot smell this. Buck's still hanging, doe's in the fridge. Nice. Some lovely stuff here. Oh my gosh. Uh-oh. Of course, as soon as I get the jar open, that's what happens. Oh, hang on. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I'm tinkering with some of this new stuff here, so out in my back shop. Hopefully that's a little better. All right, time for new gloves. Oh, I figured I was going to work on some bait tonight anyway. So I'll bring you guys along and just see what everybody's up to. Got my deer hunt starting later this week. So we'll go out and try and get a coos deer starting on Friday. So that'll be good. Kids start back to school tomorrow. So that should free up a little bit of time. Anybody getting out, besides Steve, everybody else that's on here right now, you guys are all in AZ, right? No, working on my master program and going to trap a little bit less. It disappeared again. After Christmas is my hope. Getting ready for elk refuge in Jackson, Wyoming. Got a chance to harvest. Sweet, dude. I'll look forward to that jerky. Absolutely. Won't say no to that. So this goop in here. Yeah, Val, I'm not going to be able to get out opening day this year. Got, let's see, December. UTA in December is going to be my last UTA. I retire from the military this year. No more reserves. So that'll be just under 23 years in the military. And retiring from that. So that'll be really nice to have that off my plate. And that should open up some time, but I've got to do my annual tour. Get those days done, so I'm going to be getting a little bit of a later start this year. I might be starting on the 1st, doing a little coon relocating. Flint, sorry that disappeared. This chat keeps disappearing on me. Empty house down my street got robbed last night. Had to make some adjustments on my new live trap today. Nice. The baits, Val, I just kind of put them all in one jar, so it's pretty much. I mean, this is. I do all the female glands in one jar, and I put all the glands from the males in another jar. So I'm trying that this year, see if it makes a difference. I have no idea if it will. And I figured, we'll give something a shot this year and change it up a little and see what happens. Town coons love Pringles. All right. Steve, no, don't think I'm going to do I don't know if we're going to have like a big retirement party. We're probably going to get some people together over the drill weekend and just do, just kind of get some food going and stuff, and maybe hit up a local restaurant that's close by or something and just kind of hang out. Yes, Val, I do separate the male and female urine. I've got a jar of tomcat urine and a jar from females. I caught a lot of females last year. I'm gonna grab a syringe here, guys. Just give me a sec. Try and put some of this concentrate in here. Just about 12 cc's of that. So I separate the glands. I also do separate jars for the urine that I collect, and this is what I use to collect urine as well. I just get a syringe just like this. I get the detachable syringes, so you get your syringe and needles, detachable needles. Buy them at the local tack shop here, but that is, I found, is the best way to get the urine out of the bladders without bursting the bladders and spilling a bunch and everything else. And then what I do is I take the bladders, the empty bladders, and I throw them in with my glands. So I have those in there as well. Wow, that is shaking everything. Let's see if I can do this without making a disastrous mess. Oh, tilting the phone and everything. Sorry about that, guys. See how well that chopped that up. I'm just working on some baits here. Alright, add some, where's that stuff? Towel. Where'd I put it? There it is, it almost shook off the table. Throw some of this stuff in here. Do any of you guys make your own baits at home, or do you guys just buy whatever commercially local or anything out there? What do you guys normally do? Jim, how you doing, man? I'm watching some of your little videos. I was watching some of your shorts and stuff you got on your channel there, Jim. You guys should check him out if you haven't. Subscribe to him as well. Make sure you do. Jim Balls is the... let me see. I gotta pull that back up here. It's the Outdoor Sports. Look him up on YouTube. Check him out. Give him a sub. He had an amazing season last year. He caught over 100 cats. He just crushed it last year. So Make sure you're following along with him as well. All right, I missed that again. Okay, Val says she buys it, attempt to make some, having good success with baits. Okay. Nice. Sorry about the extra noise, guys. Yes, you are. All right, there we go. That's good and chopped up. I just got this little processor here, little food processor. And then I just saved a bunch of jars and containers from old baits and stuff that I've got an old Widowmaker bait container here that I just cleaned it out, washed it all out, and saved it so that I can add those to I can just put my baits right into those, and then I don't have to go buy a bunch of containers. So I always try and just save extra containers whenever I can. I am looking for something I can scoop this out with because I did not think this through tonight. And I got behind schedule and just ran out here and started making bait. Let's see here. So Jim, what do you got going on tonight? You working on stuff for getting ready for trapping season, or are you all set and ready to go? I wish I could get this thing to just stay with the chat going the whole time. See if I can rotate this. I'm gonna try and rotate this, guys, so give me a second here. I'm wondering if that's why it's disappearing. It's because I've got it vertical. I really hate these gloves. Try this. It doesn't want to rotate. It wants me to have it vertical. Let's see here. I'm ready to go in 2 weeks, and right now I'm working on doing my first big video. That's awesome, dude. What's your video going to be on? Are you just getting it prepped for doing your first week out there? Sorry, guys, I'm going to be messing with the camera a little bit here. I'm trying to work this out. Just want to leave the chat open, and it just does not want to do it. I don't want to go in the house right now because they're doing bedtime routine, and I'm trying not to interrupt that big mess. What do we have here that I can use? I'm gonna have to get creative here. Ooh, that'll work. Give me one sec, guys. I'm gonna disappear from the camera for a second. All right, let's see here. Perfect. Piece of scrap metal. That will double as a spoon tonight. There we go. Bobcat trapping locations. Nice, that'll be a good one. Great start of the season video there. Yeah, I lost one of my best spots last year. So, oh, who just jumped on here? No, not chat hidden. Iowa Trapper, what's going on, man? I was on your chat last night, man. Gotten used to watching yours. It's weird you're on watching one of mine. Hey, Iowa, if you haven't, make sure you check out Jim Ball. It's the he's on here tonight. Let's see. It's the Outdoor Sports. Check out his channel. He caught over 100 bobcats last year, and he's just starting his channel this year. So any support you can throw his way, I'm sure he'd appreciate it. But yeah, he's an amazing cat trapper, and he's given me quite a few tips, and he's got some great stuff. So he's the guy that I have on my channel. If you've looked on my channel, he has he does the cat trapping demo for cage trapping. So yeah, if you get a chance, check out his channel. He does some cool stuff with cage trapping and cats. He's in Arizona here as well. He traps a little further north than me. So I'm way down south. I'm dealing with these hot weather Arizona Tucson cats. So a little different, but bobcats tend to act the same way. So cats are cats. They all love boxes, so cages is a great way to catch them. Well, you gonna go on a ride along with Jim? Learn some stuff? Guys got so much here. I'm using my my phone tonight. I still have not gotten that laptop to work for live feeds. I'm going to be tinkering with that a bit this year as well. I've got to get a webcam or something to hook up to it, because the camera that's on the computer itself, it wants to go to like the back one, and it messes the whole thing up and doesn't work right and just causes all kinds of issues. Now, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but we got a jar of cat glands, and we're making some bait today. Trying to catch up a little bit on what I've got going on. Flint Hills, that's you're in Kansas, right? Is that correct? Hey Flint Hills, sorry I got behind. We're good now, LOL. Oh, this stuff is gross. All right. Adventures with James, what's going on, man? Welcome. Yep, Kansas. All right, good. Making sure I read that right. Yeah, definitely different terrain out here. It's quite a bit different than what you guys got, I'm sure. I'm sure you guys don't have to worry about stepping on a rattlesnake in the middle of your trapping season, because it decided to get a warm snap, and the snakes decided to come out in the middle of the season. Just gets unusually warm at random here in Arizona, especially further down south. I had one day I was out, it was snowing one day, and then a day and a half later, it was a high of 80. So it just makes doing stuff just crazy. What's your plan this year, Mike? Goal, strategy? My goal is always to beat the previous year. Unfortunately, last year was just horrible. I had a rough year last year. I think I only caught a total of 16 cats. So definitely want to beat that. What I'd like to do is beat the previous year before that. I caught 20. I think I was at 26 or 27 cats. So I'd love to beat that. I definitely want to catch a lot more toms this year. So try and let a few more of the females go. Just was hurting on numbers last year, but I think I only ended up keeping 11 cats. And then everything else, all the other ones, well, I say all the other ones is only 5 others that I ended up letting go, or somebody let one of them go. I got there and somebody had released one of my cats and thrown my cage out in the middle of the street. So that wasn't cool, but at least they didn't steal the cage. Somebody stole another one. We had that in Idaho all the time. Yeah. Yeah, I've got, my wife's uncle lives up in Idaho, and it's, they have some crazy weather too. Right here, it's how you handle it, and you bounce back is what it shows you. Oh, I'm definitely going to keep going, definitely for sure. Iowa, yeah. We, I always want to catch at least one really nice badger. I got a beautiful one last year. I absolutely loved that one. I'm going to make a little noise and shake the table here for a second, guys, so give me a sec. That's not too loud for you guys. I'm just gonna make a mess here. Yeah, James, I'm making bait. I've got this is a pickle jar, one of the kosher whole jars here, full of female cat glands. I saved the kidneys, the glands behind the ears, the glands in the back legs. I do the anal gland, and then I also keep the bladders, and then I also cut the pads off the bottom of the feet. Especially the back feet, just the big pads, the big center pads on the feet. I'll cut those off as well and add those into the jar, and then I just let it sit all year long and then use it for the following season. But I add some glycerin and the bait maker's compound that I get. I buy that from Southern Snare and Supply, and add some of that in there. It just helps it last longer, so it doesn't just go bad on you, and makes a lovely bait mush. And then I'm also adding this in. It's what I did is some of you already heard this, but I took a bunch of silver vine and catnip. I bought a big container of it and dumped a whole bunch of it in a pot with some water and boiled it down. Basically made a catnip tea, and then boiled it and boiled it and boiled it so that the water went down way down. Left with a few cups of water and dumped it in the jar, and did that a couple of times and just made a heavy concentrated kind of like a catnip silver vine tea, and adding that to my bait. And then I'm also going to drip that on some lamb's wool. I've never used sheep's wool, so I'm going to be using that this year, and we'll see how that works, putting some of that stuff in the back of the cages. Steve, it smells horrible. I'm not going to lie. My wife actually opened that fridge, and I have to use a big heavy duty magnet to keep it closed, and the door got left open. One of the kids had opened it up. Yes, catnip works great on bobcats. Catnip will work on any cat, actually. I've talked to zookeepers, and they actually use it for like the jaguars and stuff in their pens when they're kind of getting inactive, or they're being kind of lethargic and stuff. They'll actually put catnip in the cardboard and stuff, and to kind of get them a little bit more active and moving around a little bit. They also use things. This is something I want to try. I'm going to try a little bit too this year, is essential oils. They actually will use like a citrus oil, like orange citrus. They say works really, really well. Orange or tangerine, those type of essential oils. And they'll just use a few drops, put it on cardboard, and they say the jaguars and other large cats just go nuts for it. They'll rub all over the cardboard and everything else. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to have to try that this year. So I'm going to give that a shot. I'm going to get some essential oils and stuff, and add that to just something that's going to hold it. Maybe I'll get some spearmint and peppermint oil smell. Yeah, those work really good too, Val. But but I want to get like those little dipper keys that like they sell in hunt shops and stuff. It's made out of felt, and maybe I'll just get some felt. That'd probably be the easiest thing to do, and just cut strips. But then put the oils on that and hang that in the back of the cage. Just try that on a few different sets and see what the results are. So I'm going to give that a shot this year too. We have a ton of my wife gets the essential oils and everything. Wish I could stay longer, but I got a lot of work yet tonight and route to finish up tomorrow. All right, Iowa, great to see you, man. Glad you stopped by. Thank you, and good luck this year. I hope you get those raccoons. I want to see the big numbers this year, man. But yeah, those essential oils, according to the zookeepers and everything else, just work really well on cats. So, Adventure with James, I sell bait. Oh man, it keeps disappearing on me here. My phone is not going to smell good. Two or more locations than last year, going to be awesome. That's awesome, Iowa. Yeah, definitely, man. I'll be watching. I hope you crush that record from last year. He got over 1,000 coons last year, guys. Iowa just crushes it, man. So check his channel out too. But yeah, James. Yeah, if you want some bait, man, hit me up. I think I put my email in the community tab. If not, hit me up on Instagram. I'm on Instagram, and I'm also got my Outdoor Mike Facebook group. That's linked on my banner on my YouTube channel. Just hit that link for the Facebook group, and then hit me up on the Facebook group, and I'll get you some bait, man. If you want to give this stuff a try, I'd be happy to help you out. Let's see, I need another container. I just filled that Widowmaker one. What else do I have? I know I brought a box of containers out here. Where did I put it? Like I said, my shop's a disaster. So I'm trying to... There it is. See, I knew I had it here, guys. Just have to find it. Big old bag of containers. Oh, okay, let's see here. Awesome, James. Yeah, so hit me up. Just shoot me a message on there, and we'll get you some. I'll get some bait out to you, man. Because I always end up making an excess. I still have some stuff from last year that I just kept in the fridge, and it's smelling lovely. Hoping another one of my goals this year, guys, is I want to catch a few more coyotes in cages. I caught 2 last year, and I was doing similar things at those 2 sets. One of which is wiring some larger bait into the back of the cage. And I mean like actually like wiring it back there, just the bait itself. I had a couple chickens die on me, and we are allowed to use chicken parts in the back of cages. So I took a chunk of that chicken and wired it up with baling wire, and then wired it into the back of the cage. And along with some other smells. I mean, I had that one cage, that coyote worked that set. I think he worked it for about a week before I caught him. I would find branches dragged away from that cage 10, 15, 20 feet. They'd drag those branches way off, trying to get at the cage itself and trying to get to the stuff in the back. And I just come back every day and remake the whole cage and put everything back up and freshen stuff up as needed. And eventually that coyote just couldn't stand it anymore, and he went in and got himself caught. But I would have coyote tracks around that cage constantly. All right, fish the back of my mink boxes. It works awesome. Mice don't steal it. Yeah, that's a big problem we have down here is we have pack rats. And those guys will go in, they'll steal feathers out of the back of your cages. They'll steal the little, I use little chunks of Christmas decorations and stuff. I've got some of the stuff I use. Let's see here. There's my bag of odds and ends that I use. And I go to the dollar store, guys, and I hit up the dollar store. I'll buy tinsel like this. I'll hang a chunk of tinsel, not this big of a piece, but I'll just cut a small piece like that, you know, and hang that in the back of cages. Blue and silver seems to work really well. These are some dollar store pom-poms. Dollar store is a great place. Silver boas like this. I hang all kinds of stuff like that in the back of cages. And the biggest problem I run into... So glad that we are not... Yeah, we are. Unfortunately, we are... Is that Anthony Rubio? Is that you on there? Sorry, my feed keeps disappearing, buddy. So if I miss you, it's not, you know... It is. So what's up, Anthony? Welcome. But yeah, we have the pack rats down here, and they will crawl into your cages, go all the way to the back. Still, like they'll crawl like down the sides or up along the top, and steal all that stuff out of your cage. And you'll come back, and all your tinsel's gone, and they'll bite feathers out of there, and they steal all your little attractors and stuff out of the back of your cages. Which is a real inconvenience when you're trying to catch cats, because one of the big things for them is they like that little visual attraction. They like to see that little sparkle. And, you know, I had a guy that gave me a lot of advice when I first started trapping. He said, don't think of these things as anything special. They're cats. If a house cat will mess with it, a bobcat will mess with it. A mountain lion will mess with it. A jaguar, a lion, anything. A cat is a cat is a cat. They think like cats. So if you can mess with a house cat and make it do it, you can probably make a bobcat do it. And he said, just think of it like that. And I started doing that, and I started catching cats. Before that, I had a hell of a time trying to catch cats. Where do you sell all your fur? I've sold my fur at a few different places. Last year, Mercer Lawn came out and did helped put together a great sale for us out here in Arizona. So I went up and supported that one and sold all my fur there. The year before that, I shipped all my fur up to Rusty Kramer at the Idaho sale and sold it up there. And the year before that, I think we had the sale in Williams, and I had a buddy. I met up with a buddy and had him take my fur up and sell it for me up there at the Williams sale. So I've sold it a few different places. It's a lot of the same buyers, though. I think all 3 years I ended up selling to the exact same buyer. They all ended up at the same place. So the buyers just kind of move around, but you might get better prices at different sales. You might get the same prices. It just kind of depends on what the competition is, how many other buyers, what the market's doing at that point in time, how much they have in their supply in their back, kind of what they could sell the year before and what they did or didn't sell the year before. So what they kind of have left over still. So if they're not really hurting for a certain type of fur, they're not going to pay top dollar for it because they don't really need it. They may buy it just more as kind of a, hey, you know, I'm here. I'll buy your stuff. If you want to sell it to me, fine. If not, you know, no hard feelings. But you may not get the same price. Okay, so you work with, you sell all your stuff So you know Rusty and those guys up there then. You sell up at that Idaho sale. That's a good sale. You guys got a good, if you sell up at the Idaho sale, guys, you got to get your membership, and along with the membership, they do a newsletter. It's more of like an Idaho Trapper magazine. It's pretty cool. So I got a subscription to that for a year when I did that, and there's some good information that comes out of that. Sorry, I'm going to keep making noise here, guys. Member of the ITA. Yeah, so I've been keeping an eye on... I've seen some of Rusty's posts. Rusty Kramer, if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, he's president up there, and he's caught a bunch of nice wolves already this year. They can trap the wolves up there. Yeah, Jim, I saw a lot of the, Rusty posted a whole bunch of information about that sale. One year he just kind of walked around and did a couple different live feeds on his Facebook page. I mean, they've got traps for sale, guys are selling skulls, guys are selling trapping supplies, they're doing the fur sale, they've got all kinds of demos. That year they had a little kid come out and do a demo. That was pretty cool. He did what was that? That was a muskrat trapping demo, and kid was a new trapper and everything, and it was really cool to see all the adults and everything kind of supporting this kid, and just they all went out and sat there and listened to his demo, and then asked questions, and everybody was really respectful, and I just thought that was something so cool that you don't see in a lot of places, but you see with these trappers. Is just the support that they give each other is just so awesome. And that was just something I saw about that sale. It was just super cool. Is just everybody just kind of even though it's a little kid, and I mean these guys I'm sure have decades of experience on them. They're out there watching this kid do a demo and listening and asking questions and stuff, and just giving them some respect and listening. It was really neat. I do fur, skulls, porky hair, just about everything I can. That's awesome. Yeah, something I'm going to do this year. My wife likes to do stuff with the Dremel. And so she asked me to save all my skulls from last year. So I saved them all. And I have a whole bunch of skulls sitting in my deep freeze right now. I'm going to go do a huge batch of those soon. And I'm gonna, oh my gosh, this is a mess. If you guys could smell this, oh my God. But she wants to Dremel artistic designs and stuff into the skulls, and then try selling them that way. So we'll see how that does. But I've seen people selling deer skulls and coyote and bobcat skulls and stuff like that on Etsy. I've run in across a couple different knife companies that want skulls, and they like to collect the jawbones and make knife handles out of them and stuff. So there's a market for just about anything, guys, if you're willing to put in a little bit of extra time. Another goal I want to do this year is I want to go after some skunks. I was gonna do it last year, and a couple of weeks that I had slotted for going after the skunks and everything, I got COVID and spent 2 weeks at home. So yeah, that wasn't fun. But yeah, so that just just kind of roll with it. But I've got boxes of 2 and 4 ounce jars to collect skunk essence. So I'm hoping to start tinkering with that market this year, and through the summer and see what I can do. See if I can get hold of some bait makers and people that would want to utilize the skunk essence, and try that side of the market as well. Well, for a $14 processor, this thing does a pretty darn good job. I'm shaking the whole table. Anthony, when does your guys' season start? You still on here? I don't know who's still on. I can't see. Oh, you guys got a buyer for skunk essence up at the sale? Do they auction it off, or does the guy just come out there if you just have a few different buyers? So if I get a bunch, maybe I'll send it up to you, and we can work out a deal for selling the skunk essence for me. If it's not just the guy that you send it to. I need a little bit more of this in here. And I don't measure any of this stuff, guys. I just kind of dump and see what looks right. So I just kind of tinker with that. How long is the shelf life on skunk essence? I honestly don't know, but I know guys. There's a few guys out there that what they'll do is when they'll catch a skunk, they just cut the glands out instead of extracting the essence from it. They just cut the whole gland out, and then they just freeze all the glands, and they freeze them with the essence in it and everything. They put it in a container, throw it in the freezer, and just freeze it all. And then when they're ready to ship it and everything else, then they thaw it all out and they extract the essence out of the glands, put it into bottles, and ship it out to whoever their buyers are. That's one way to do it, but I don't see why. I mean, it's mostly oils and stuff that's in there, so I think that if you get it and you get it all into a jar and everything, I'm sure it'll last a long time. Probably, I mean, it'll last the whole season, that's for sure. And then, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't last longer. I mean, hell, I put an 1.5 ounces in my fridge in a glass jar with a metal lid, inside another glass jar with a metal lid. And even after getting rid of those, the fridge still stunk like skunk for 1.5 years. So whether it goes bad or not, I don't think it really matters. I think as long as it smells like skunk, you're good to go. Wholesale is set up like a silent auction style and a few beat maker buyers. Okay. Maybe I'll have to, if I get a bunch of skunk essence, I'll have to ship some up there for the sale then. Unless I can find somebody local that'll buy it. If I can find another bait maker, I'm probably going to end up saving some for myself too for baits next year if I get some. Add it to some of these gland baits and stuff and see how that goes. Just keep tinkering with this stuff. My God, this stuff stinks. Oh. I do not want to spill this. Some of this stuff wrapped around the blades and everything in here. Try and get this broke up. may go up to Idaho again this year if you want to send up with me. When is that sale, Jim? When do they do that sale? I saw you drove up there and did that road trip. That was that last year. You guys road tripped up there. You know whenabouts they have that sale, Jim? Sounds good, James. Yeah, hit me up, man, and we'll get you some of that bait, man. Thanks for stopping in. But yeah, Jim, if I end up getting a decent number of skunks and get some essence and everything to sell up there, I'll hit you up. Maybe I can send it to you, or try and get it to that sale one way or another. Oh, this container's gonna hold a lot of bait. I just saved like peanut butter jars, and this one was a pork rind bread mix. It's like a breading mix for frying up fish and chicken and stuff, except it's made out of pork rinds. I believe second week in March. Okay. And they're doing they're planning a sale for here in Arizona. That one's going to be the first weekend in March, right? Is that what I saw? I want to say I saw that on the ATA page. Am I correct in that? Oh, wow. That's just stuck in the bottom here. And one in January too. Oh, you guys do 2 sales. Okay, cool. Clean out this jar a little. All right, there's one stinky jar done. James, how much, you still on here, James? I'll hit you up later if you're not. That's all right. That's not bad. That's a decent amount. Let's see if we can get a little bit more. What else do we have here? I think this is a tom jar. I didn't have that much for them. That's the toms. See, I don't have a lot from the toms because I only caught 2 real decent toms last year. Second and third week in January, and the second and third week in March. Okay. AZ's first weekend in March. Yep, still here. Okay. How much are you looking for the gland stuff? Just so I can put together a jar for you. I could do like an 8-ounce jar or something like this size. If that would work for you, James, just let me know and I'll put that together and make sure that's off to the side there and set up for you. Okay, so this is the rest of the female cat glands then. Yeah. Put some of these in here. I'm hoping is that I'll run out of jar space for glands this year. I'd love that to have that problem. If I ran out of room, that'd be awesome. Maybe have to buy some more stretchers in the middle of the season. That'd be a great problem to have. Oh, I was just asking if you wanted, if like an 8-ounce jar, maybe this size or so, of gland lure would be good for you, James. Val, I don't know. I've never sold any glands to a gland buyer or anything like that. I've always saved them to make my own bait, but if I have enough to do that and sell, then that'd be awesome. You too, Jim. Thanks for stopping in, man. Have a good night. All right, James, I'll make sure I put a jar of it off to the side for you, buddy. Yeah, as far as the going rate goes, I'm really not sure. I don't know what it goes for these days. Man, this thing is just shaking all over the place. I'm using a little workbench here. And every time I turn on this thing, it just shakes everywhere. All right, see you later, James. Thanks for stopping in, man. Good chatting with you. Uh-oh. What the heck? Wow, it actually like cut through it all finally. Dump some of this in here. Now, one thing I'm definitely going to tell you, if you make your own bait, make sure you have a spot away from everything else to do it. Because this back building's not going to smell good for the next probably couple days. I can't remember, did I dump glycerin in here? I don't think I did. The glycerin and the bait maker's compound just kind of helps stabilize the bait and make it last longer. If you are making bait, just make sure you get some glycerin and some bait maker's compound. If you're going to make it in bulk like I am, at least. If you just make enough to use for a little while, you probably get away with just making some, but not a ton. Oh my goodness. I think I almost got a whole nother jar full. This thing is, how many ounces is this jar? Net weight 12 ounces. That's the weight. I don't even know how much that is actual, like, space-wise. It doesn't say. It says the net weight's 12 ounces, but that was when it had pork rind extras in it. So who knows what it weighs now. No, that's just wrapping around, that's why. Some chunks don't want to chunk up. Just wrapping around everything in here. Not the most exciting night, I know that. But I wanted to see you guys and anybody that could stop in. I don't think it's going to want to switch out there. Yeah, it's not chopping up. Oh well, I'll just use it in the back of the cage. Whatever. I chopped it up a little. Awesome. That's going to be fun to clean in the morning. Add a little more there? I do. I thought I was done. Nope. A little bit more. It's a Creole butter injector bottle. I just save jars and containers, whatever I can. So I can put bait and whatnot in there. So you said you weren't starting in Val. You said you weren't starting until December, or are you starting even after that? Are you gonna wait till January? Yes, Flint Hills. I make my own cage. I make my cages myself. Cages are super expensive if you buy them off the commercial market. By no fault of their own, unfortunately, steel prices and everything shot through the roof, and so they had to raise their prices just to be able to compete and keep up. But you're going to spend anywhere from probably about 110 to 130, $140 a cage if you buy them commercially. If you want to make them yourself, for that same price, you can probably make yourself 4 cages if you have a little hobby welder. I've got the just a little Chicago Electric welding thing that I bought from Harbor Freight. It probably cost me about $100 when I bought it, and it comes with its own welding mask and all that crap. But I bought one of those, and other than that, I can spend $150 on cage materials and build, 4 or 5 cages, depending on what I have left over from my last builds. But I just buy all the metal myself and then build them myself and scrounge up metal bits and pieces when I can, just to save money. I've used old metal shelves for the pans and just cut my metal out of those for to make my trap pans. Just old shelving from, whatever, just to cut the pans and stuff. And I've used old ammo cans. I've used all kinds of stuff just for the pans, so I'd have the steel for that. And then everything else I just buy from the commercial market. But even with the rise in prices, I can still, for about 100 and now it runs about $150 or so to build another 4 cages. Ballpark, depending on the size of the cage I want to build and everything else. But the wire, I think it's about $3 linear foot. Picked up a set of 3 at Kansas Trapping Convention for $255. That's a great deal. That's awesome. You beat the market price then on those. $255 for 3 cages built and done. That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's actually not a bad price at all if you can get a group of 3 cages for that price. Yeah, if you can get a cluster of 3 for less than 300, you're beating the market. Guaranteed. So, as long as they're quality cages. Those the guillotine door cages? What kind of cages were those, Flint? Told me not to tell anyone else. Whoops. Well, we won't say who you bought them from then. We'll just... You managed to get a good deal at a sale. Just keep it at that, right? Now, with the type of cages they sold, give away who sold them to you? I'm just curious what style cages they were. If they were the guillotine doors, or if they were the flip doors with the ring locks, or what kind of cages they were. If that's going to give away your seller, I'm not going to push the issue. It's just me being curious, that's all. Let's see here. I need a jar. How about... Yep, that's going to be my Tomcat lure bottle. All right, so... Goutin? Okay, I don't know. I don't know who that is. I don't know what kind of cages those are. Guillotine. Oh, that's Guillotine. Got it. They're out of Colorado. Okay, cool. So I've got these two containers here. So far, that's all the, that's after I ground it up and added the other stuff to it and everything. If you guys want to see exactly how I'm making this, I did a video on how to make Bobcat Gland lure. I also show how effective it is. This stuff brings in coyotes and bobcats. It just does. I put some on a piece of rebar in my front yard here in town and brought in bobcats and coyotes. It also brings in, I have 2 outdoor cats that I have on my property that kill all the pack rats and everything on my property. And they both came to check it out too. But the bobcat kept coming back. The coyotes kept coming back around and checking it out. My wife made me this mug. Put my emblem on it. Gotta give her credit. What do I have in here right now? Absolutely nothing. We need to add some stuff in there. But yeah, the coyotes and bobcats will come check this stuff out, man. So if you want to know how I make the bait, check out that video. And then I also did a follow. Like I said, I did a follow-up video doing the test. I put a game camera on it and put it out in my yard and was bringing in bobcats, coyotes, and everything else. And that video is from my front yard here in town. So, you know, they'd come check it out. They definitely, and they kept coming back. Like, they'd come back night after night to check it out. Got to sell some merch. Yeah, Steve, my kids keep asking me that. Dad, when are you going to start selling merch? Are you going to sell t-shirts and hats and stuff? I don't know, I might. I have no idea how interested people would be if I did. But I've got some decals and stuff. I usually hand those out at the sales and stuff like that if people want them. You know, they last a while. They don't get washed out in the dishwasher. They keep their color and everything. So decals are really good. But yeah, I'll probably end up doing some merch here eventually. All right, this is going to be my Tomcat mix. Did not have as much of that as I hoped, but is what it is. We'll just work with it. As I would say, pick yourself up and just keep on pressing. That guy just killed it last year on raccoons. Again, if you saw his stuff, it was impressive. He had an amazing year. People keep saying they've been seeing lions around here. That's pretty cool. All right, Val. Yeah, have a good night. Hopefully it'll be more entertaining next time. But like I said, I'm just trying to get ready for trapping season, so I thought I'd kick on the camera and say hi to everybody. And yeah, got those of you who are still here, yeah, don't forget, make sure you're watching those next videos coming up, because I'm gonna have the announcement for the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. Haven't quite decided what I'm gonna do. As I may do some trapping stuff. I may give kind of make it a subscribers pick, whoever wins. Like $50 towards a purchase from Blakely's or something. But I want to try and promote and help out, other trapping suppliers, some of these smaller guys and stuff. So maybe we'll do something like that. I don't know yet. But that announcement will be coming up soon. So make sure you guys are checking out those videos. How big was the dog, Flint? What kind of dog was it? Because we have lions doing that right out of people's backyards, just north of Tucson here. We were having those problems. They were coming right down out of the Catalina Mountains and stuff. Just north of Tucson in the Catalina area there, and stealing dogs right out of backyards and stuff. Yeah, we got a lot of lions down here in Arizona. A couple guys I talk to a few times a year, and they tell me about, oh yeah, I had a lion on my back porch. It was scratching at my window, and these guys are all southern Tucson, down by the Santa Rita Mountains and everything. But they're just loaded with lions. We got lions all over the place. For the longest time, we had a hard time getting the population of bighorn sheep going in the Catalina Mountains. I was talking to some of the game and fish guys. Like, yeah, we're having a hell of a time getting the sheep population going here, because the lions are just decimating these sheep. They don't know how to deal with the mountain lions. We got Hungo things, yeah, small. Yeah, no, those lions, they're spreading out. They've shown up in Pennsylvania, as far east as Pennsylvania and stuff. Guys are like, oh, there's no lions in Pennsylvania. There's no lions in Pennsylvania. I had an old squad leader who had a buddy that kept telling game and fish, hey, freaking lions coming in and killing my chickens. Lions coming in. Oh, sir, no, we don't have lions in Pennsylvania. We don't have lions in Pennsylvania. That's not a lion killing them. It's probably a bobcat or this, that, and the other. Till he killed the lion and walked in and dumped it on their front desk. Said, here's your bobcat. So, yeah, they didn't like that. But, I mean, they can't argue with what's sitting right in front of them either. Because he was trying to get a special permit, either trap it and get it out of there, have them come trap it and get it out of there, and they wouldn't do anything. So, because they were telling him that there are no lions in Pennsylvania, and then he showed them, well, actually there are. So here, now deal with it. So, that was a long time ago, though. I think he ended up getting in a lot of trouble for that, too. This one's going to to be a little more watery. I think I added too much glycerin and stuff to it. Oh well, that's okay. Add other stuff in it will gel it up eventually. This is one of Trapper J's all predator bait containers that I used last year as well. I think that's what was in my badger, the thing I caught my badger on. It was the all predator and some cat food and marshmallows. Thanks, Gab, if any of you guys see his channel. I saw him using marshmallows and cat food for his dog-proof traps, and I was like, huh, well, wonder how well that'll work out here. So I mixed up some cat food and marshmallows and threw it in some of my cages. I always like to tinker with that kind of stuff and just try different baits and homemade baits and all kinds of stuff. If I can support another trapper or another YouTube guy, I always will try and do that. Throw a little support their way. Best I can. Help out whoever I can as I can. Alright. I think that's all the glands. Let's talk about saving all the urine and everything. Got a little squirt bottle here, so it'll pull the pop top and spray it right on your stuff. Bought some DP bait that had M&Ms in it. Really? That's kind of cool. They just put M&Ms in the DP bait. Okay. I mean, if you're trying to catch raccoons, I mean, anything sweet, I guess, would work. I don't see why it wouldn't. This stuff is a mess. I gotta do dishes in the morning now. If I bring this into the house right now, my wife will kill me. I will be in trouble because this stuff stinks to high heaven. I'm gonna have to get a bucket of hot water and probably clean it out here or something. I do not want to take that in the house. Oh. So anybody else on here cage trap, or is it just a couple of my foothold guys still? What do I got on here still? Can't see. Flint, you do both. Okay, cool. Have you ever used sheep wool in the back of your cages? Because I've never tried it. So I'm just kind of curious as to if it makes a big difference, or kind of 6 in one, half dozen in the other kind of thing, or I'm just kind of curious as to what to expect. Okay. Just wondering. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to get some lightning in a bottle. That's another thing I like to use for a long call. If you guys are looking for a good long call, is Dunlap's lightning in a bottle. It's a lot like it smells and has the same consistency as Hellfire, but this stuff glows in the dark. So yeah, good stuff. I buy mine right off. I think I buy this off of Amazon. But it's their lightning in a bottle glow long call. But yeah, this stuff glows in the dark. Pretty neat stuff. I was told in my area's best bait for cage was a mallard duck. Yeah, unfortunately, we are not allowed to use game birds or game bird feathers in Arizona. The only bird feathers and stuff we're allowed to use are poultry from chickens or ducks or turkeys, and they have to be white feathers. And then we can use chicken meat and stuff like that, but we can't use... What the heck is this? I don't even know what this is in here. Oh, I know what this is. So this is another thing I was messing with right here. This is glycerin and a whole bunch of, what is it? It just went out of my head. Catnip and silvervine. I put a bunch of catnip and silvervine in a bottle and then dumped a bunch of glycerin in with it. And it made this really goopy, kind of gunky consistency stuff. But it smells amazing. And that's been sitting in that bottle all summer long out here in my shop. Nice and hot out here. So we'll see how that works this year. Like I said, I just like to tinker with stuff and see what happens. What else do I have in my bait bag here? This is my bait bag. Just use this little container here, and just all my baits and everything are contained in it. Keeps stuff from spilling, keeps them all upright. I don't have a big mess. Let's see, I've got some Lennon's Bobcat Super Alcohol. I'm going to have to get some new stuff of that. A little bit more Bobcat urine. I just saved, this was a, when you get the Super Alcohol, it usually comes with a bottle of Bobcat urine. So you get them both, and then you got a nice little refillable bottle there. You just keep adding urine to it throughout the season. It's leftover bait from mine from last year. Still smells just like it did last year. Didn't go bad. That'll be good for next year. A little bit more lightning in a bottle, but not much. You can kind of see there's just a little bit of sludge left in the side of that one. That stuff is potent. Oh. Yep, very skunky. Oh, that was a funny thing I did last year. I ordered I ordered a new lightning in a bottle, and the mailman dropped it off, and it was wrapped in like 4 garbage bags. And I could smell it when I opened the front door, and it was like 10 feet away from the front door. I felt bad for the mailman. That was a hot day too, so I'm sure his mail truck just reeked to high heaven. He did not seem impressed. Alright guys, let's see here. Yeah. What else do I have in here that I need to order? I'm like way behind. Like I said, I'm still playing catch up this year. I'm almost out of raccoon candy. This is Trapper Jay's raccoon candy. Another little good thing. That stuff smells like, what is that? That's what it smells like. It smells like cherry pie filling. The stuff smells like cherry pie filling is what that smells like. Although it's been sitting out here in the heat, so it's probably fermented. I have no idea what that is. That's Feline Fix, a Bobcat Gland lure. That's made by Cabins. I've used, let's see, Wildcat Lure #1, Hawbaker stuff. That stuff works really good. Got quite a few cats on that. In fact, I think my first season of trapping, I moved a line. I hadn't caught anything. And I moved my whole line to this new area. And I had just gotten that bottle of stuff, and I put it in the back of one of my cages. And went and set the rest of my cages, and was on my way back home, and I passed a few of my cages, and one of them was the very first cage I'd set that day, and the door was down, and I already had a bobcat in it. That was the first cat from that season, but it was the day I set all those cages, and that cage hadn't been set an hour and a half, and I had a bobcat in it. That was a pretty awesome feeling. That's always exciting when that happens. When you go set your line and then just kind of check a couple random cages on the way home and have a bobcat in one on the way home. That's pretty neat. Coyotes. If you can get some Bobcat Gland and make some gland lure, that stuff works. Coyotes love it. Anything meat base. Make it meat base and something that they can't take the whole thing out of the cage. So, you know, they'll have to go into the getting a coyote to commit to a cage is super hard. Like I said, I had that one work that cage for like a week and a half before I caught him. I kept finding tracks around it, would drag brush away. I'd have to really build it back up. Unless you get that one coyote that's just willing to commit right away to a cage, like the first coyote I caught this year, he just committed. He was like, "Yep, I'm going into that cage and I'm getting what's in the back of it," and I caught him. That cage was 7 inches wide. That was a skinny cage. It was 7 inches wide, 16 inches tall, 36 inches deep, and I caught a coyote in it. So they'll go into cages. You just have to put something in the back of it that they really, really want. And whatever, I wish I had written down, I had planned on writing stuff down that year, and I just got in a hurry, and I didn't write down like the last 4 or 5 cages that I set, and that happened to be one of the cages that coyote got caught in. So I have no idea what I threw in the back of that cage. I do know that I had, the only thing I absolutely know that was in the back of that cage was some of my Gland lure and some of Trapper Jay's, what was it, the all predator bait? Yeah, Trapper Jay's all predator bait I know was in the back of that cage. Besides that, I had some tinsel, kind of sparkly stuff in the back, and then I had a piece of deer hide. That's another thing I put in the back of all my cages. We're allowed to use the inedible portions of large game and small game, like, so you can use like the hide and stuff like that. And so I take a piece of that and I use baling wire and I wire it to the back of the cage, so that it cannot be pulled out of the cage if they grab it. They have to go all the way in if they want it, and they have to work at it to get it out. And I think that may have been a portion of what got that coyote caught, is that it couldn't just grab something and leave. It had to stay there and mess with it. And it probably was, because what canines tend to do, I have some trail cam footage. I think I put it on one of these ones. I marked it as it's trail cam footage, the ones that got away. And one of it is a coyote, and he goes about halfway into the cage. And that's typically what they'll do, is they'll kind of put their feet maybe in the first 5-6 inches of that cage, and then they'll reach their head way in as far as they can, stretch their neck to get in there to sniff at whatever's in the back of the cage. And coyotes are big and long enough that they can kind of get away with that, and they can get a good sniff, and if they satisfy their curiosity, then they'll bail and they just back right up. That's the other thing, is with coyotes, they're canines, and canines will typically back up. If something hits them on the back and they don't like whatever it is, they'll back up. Whereas a bobcat, if something hits them on the back, they'll jump forward and turn around to see what it was. And that's how they get themselves caught in these cages all the time. Even if they're not all the way in the cage and that door drops, it hits them on the butt and they jump forward and they don't back up. They turn around in the cage to see what it was, and by then it's too late. With coyotes, it'll land on their back and they'll just back up and that door will fall. I've had quite a few where I've had like muddy coyote paw prints on the pan and the door's down and there's nothing in the cage, because the coyote came in and stepped on the pan, the door dropped on its back, and it just backed out of the cage. So that happens too. I missed a coyote, is it 2 seasons ago? I think it was 2 seasons ago. I had a heavy snow and I didn't have enough cover on top of the cage, and the snow made it through the cage, got down into the pan area, and froze the pan in the up position. And it also got on the mechanism on the side and froze that up. And I mean, it was a sleety, wet, nasty, icy snow. And it just locked it all up and you couldn't get in. And right in the center of that pan was a melted coyote paw print. Dead center of that pan was a coyote paw print right in the middle of it. So coyote had gone in, stepped on it, all the bait was missing from the back. It ate all the bait out of the back of the cage and left. And the door was still up and everything, because that cage was frozen solid. I had to bash all kinds of ice and everything off of it to get that thing out. Do your cage use spring tension to hold up the pan? No. I have a cage build series on my channel. It's a 3-part series, but the way I do it, basically, it's just a 1/8-inch wire that runs down to the pan that holds the pan up, and then that wire goes to a little mechanism that then goes under the door, and it's just the door tension sitting on the wire is what holds that pan up. As soon as that wire's pulled out, the door drops. That's all that's holding it up there is that little piece of wire. And it just sits on there, and then as soon as it pops out, the door will drop down. But that whole thing, I mean, all the way around the door, the rails were iced up, the door was iced up, the mechanism was iced up, the pan was iced up. I had ground rise from underneath because it was a muddier area. So I had that frost ground rise up underneath the pan, so it came up through the cage and pushing up on the base of the pan, so the pan couldn't even fall. I mean, anything that could have gone wrong with that cage from an ice up went wrong. That whole thing was completely froze up. I had to pull the whole cage and bash all the ice and frozen mud and snow and everything else out of it, redig that whole area. I brought in a bunch of dry sand that I found further down in the wash, dumped it all in that area, and then remade that whole set because that one was completely froze up and was totally useless. But yeah, no, I don't use any spring tension or anything like that on my pans or on the doors. I just use, it's all gravity. Oh man. There's a question. What do you guys do with your what do you do with the meat from the animals that you're catching? Do you use it? Do you know, some guys they'll cook it up and everything. I save a lot of the bobcat meat because I actually like bobcat meat. It cooks up just like pork and tastes pretty much the same way. It tastes like a pork chop. Bobcat is fantastic. It's a very white meat and it cooks up just like a pork chop, so it's really good. Yes, the ones I bought springs, I'm disconnecting them. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about those ones that have the springs. Some people use the spring. It's like a spring-loaded door, so it shoots the door down faster. Oh yeah, Bobcat Flint. Bobcat is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I did a video on like Bobcat backstraps on my channel. Check it out, man. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's a very white meat. It tastes like a pork chop. You eat it, and if somebody hadn't told me it was Bobcat, I would have thought it was a pork chop. That's how it tastes. It cooks and tastes just like a pork chop. It'll dry out just as quick as a pork chop will. I mean, the consistency is pretty much the same as a pork chop. It's the weirdest thing. But the very first time I ever ate Bobcat, I was like, I gotta try this. I just gotta see. I just had to know for myself, is it any good? And so I cooked up some, and that was the very first thing that popped in my head. I was like, this tastes just like a pork chop. Like, hands down, identical. Tastes just the same. And it cooks a lot the same way too. I mean, it'll dry out the same way a pork chop will, so you got to be careful when you're doing it. That you don't overcook them, or you'll dry them out and you'll have a... So cat tastes like pork, is what you're saying. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I know I've said it like 4 times now. Or more. I'm sure more. But yeah. Haven't tried raccoon yet, although I've heard it's really good. Haven't tried house cat, and I'm sure my daughter would be pissed if I did that. She loves her cats. We've got all kinds of animals here. We got cats, dogs. I'm sure you've heard the dogs out back barking. Chickens, little budgies, and fish, and you got pets all over the place. But yeah, what else? Just messing with stuff here. I'm just looking at all my stuff, trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my gear this season, trying to get things organized. I got to reorganize my shelf. My workbench is a complete disaster. I'll show you guys this. Check this out. There's my workbench. Just a total mess. Steve, this is your fault right here. Absolutely your fault, buddy. That's like a staple in our fridge now. Flint, if you haven't tried those, they're addictive as hell. They're really good. Yeah, gotta clean up my processing table's a total mess, and if I get a deer this weekend, I'm in trouble, so I gotta get that cleaned up. That's my processing table there. It's just covered in crap from this summer, doing little projects and stuff. Just gotta get organized in here. I'm sure I'll be doing a few other lives where I'm just in here cleaning and just chatting and seeing what people are up to. Flint, when has your season already started up there in Kansas, or do you guys not get going till later in the year? When do you guys get going? You're not ready either. Well, yeah, I've got military duty until mid-November, so I don't even know if I'm going to get my cages out until after mid-November. We'll see. I've got my deer hunt coming up, so I'm mostly focused on that. And then I'll probably really get into doing that. But I'll do thinking I'm going to do a processing video this year on the deer, on just what I do for breaking them down. And I do all my own butchering. I don't know what you do, Flint, but Steve, I know you. I've taught you how to do all that stuff. You've spent a lot of time in my garage here doing deer processing and stuff with me. So I know you're putting that to good use this year with all those deer and elk and everything you've been getting. I saw that stuff hanging in your garage, those pictures you sent me this morning. That was a cool way to wake up. Trust me, I wish I was up there with you hunting deer right now. We only get one deer a year if we're lucky down here. If you get drawn for it. Untitled Chapter, November 15th. All right, so yeah, you guys start late November. Ours starts here on November 1st. But for southern Arizona, that's still a bit early to get things going. It's still kind of warm then. Days haven't shortened up quite enough. I mean, I'm still sitting above 2,000 feet above sea level, but in some of the areas I trap are closer to 3. But it's still just, we're still desert. It's still the Sonoran Desert and everything, so it's still pretty hot that time of year. But we'll see what happens. We just kind of play it out and see what goes on. But we'll be definitely going after the cats again this year, and hopefully some coyotes. I'd love to get at least a few more coyotes, and haven't deer hunted since I was a kid. Thinking about muzzle loading deer next year. My dad's I've never done muzzle loading. Never shot a muzzle loader. We do have a muzzle loader season here, but I always end up getting drawn for the general hunt. I threw in for the muzzleloader hunt this year just as one of my choices. So maybe I'll have to give that a try. Oh my gosh, 14 degrees in the morning. That's cold. Yeah, it'll probably be about 60s. Good chilly 64 degrees here in Arizona. So if it even gets down to that, in southern Arizona. So we'll see. But yeah, we don't get down into the teens unless we have like a hard freeze warning, and that's usually sometime in like late January or in February. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we can't shoot any does here, and you have to put in for the draw to get a buck tag unless you, or you can buy an over-the-counter archery tag. But they've even been limiting the number of deer you can shoot with an archery tag now because with COVID and everything, hunting and everything just took off in Arizona. It used to be in some of these southern units, there would be 400-500 extra leftover tags after the initial draw every year. Now there's none left over, and they usually put out about 54,000 tags for deer, and this year they had 184,000 people put in for it for 54,000 tags. It was just the numbers of people putting in for hunts now has just exploded, which is awesome. I mean, it shows a lot of great support for hunting, but I think a lot of people are picking it back up after not doing it for a really long time. And I think COVID was one of the reasons. I think a lot of people started picking up hunting again. It just makes competition for tags that much harder in a state where you have to do the draw. So it just makes it that much harder to get drawn. Few years ago, I didn't get drawn and I had to do archery. Luckily for me, I grew up doing archery. That's what I did. I grew up back in Pennsylvania, and so I done those archery hunts. I know how to archery hunt, and so I just worked on my spot and stock and went out and worked at it and got a deer anyway. So I was gonna fill that tag. I was gonna make it happen. So up here, 4 does and a buck tag, but buck, doe, goats get up to 2 bull elks and 3 cow elks if lucky. Holy crap, Steve. You could fill like 16 freezers, buddy. That's insane. COVID got a lot of people out of the house. Yeah, it definitely did, Flint. That just... Yeah, I mean, everybody was outside. That was funny because they were like, yeah, we're going to go into this quarantine and everything. And they went into that quarantine, and I saw more people outdoors doing stuff than I've seen in ever, actually. Just people were everywhere. Yeah, Steve, eventually I think I'll end up there. Mo and I keep on kicking around the idea. I've got a few more years with work, and then we'll see what happens. But I would love to come up there, man, and do some hunting because you guys you have a ridiculous amount of big game to hunt every year up there. I've looked at the trapping regs. I'm still trying to figure out your trapping regs up there, but they're definitely more relaxed than what we've got down here. So I see people camping and doing stuff though. Absolutely, Flint Hills. Yeah, just seeing people out doing stuff and getting their kids back into the outdoors and getting that tradition going again is just excellent to see. I love to see that and see people getting back out and really teaching their kids that there's more to life than video games. You see some of these kids and they've never been camping, they've never gone out and done anything like that, and growing up for me, I lived in the woods growing up. I mean, my parents knew I was gone for the day because the fishing poles were missing from the back porch. And they're just like, all right, he's somewhere off in the woods down by the creek somewhere, that's just where I was, somewhere down by the creek, somewhere in the woods, and it could have been 1.5 miles, 2 miles, 3 miles from the house. Whatever. He'll be back when it's dark, fishing poles are missing, and kids don't do that anymore. So it's good to see that pick up their trash when they leave. Absolutely. Yeah, I've seen some of those on those camping sites. I don't know if you've seen that on some of the camping pages for like Arizona camping families and stuff. I mean, the people just leave piles of trash. I've seen whole tents and just entire campsites just abandoned. Like they've just left everything in place and just got in the car and went home. Left the barbecue grill, left the sunshade, left the tent, left everything, and just left. You know, took sleeping bags and stuff, but the rest of the stuff they just left. It's like they just went out there for the weekend and, well, whatever, and just bailed on it. And I don't understand people like that. It doesn't make any sense to me why you do something like that and think it's okay even. Yeah. Yeah, I got into trapping when I was a kid. One of the preachers at my school actually lent me a few of his live catch cage traps. And I used to catch possums and raccoons and squirrels and stuff like that in those cages in my backyard. And that's just what I learned, how I learned to do it. My trapping hammer. Just took a big piece of steel and welded it to a 3-pound sledge that I bought at Ace. Works awesome. That's my little trapping digging hammer though. I just heard it fall. It just shifted something and it fell and went clunk on the ground there. And I was like, what was that? Like, oh, there's my trapping hammer. Need to get my trapping bag all organized and everything. But yeah, I mean, that's how I started trapping. I started messing with it back then when I was a little kid and just screwing with raccoons and trying to catch them. And one of the big things I learned with raccoons is they like to reach in from the sides of the cage. They'll reach through the bars if they can and pull all the bait out from the side and never go in the cage. They're not dumb. Raccoons will find any and every way to get into that cage without going inside it. And what I learned to do was I'd take dental floss and I'd tie the chicken bones down to the bottom of the cage. And then I'd put bricks or something like that heavy along the edge of the cage so they couldn't crawl underneath the cage, because I had raccoons that would dig a tunnel underneath the cage and come up from the bottom and then just chew on the bones from underneath the cage. So I had to put bricks and stuff along the edge of the cage. And then when they finally couldn't get into the cage, then they'd go around the ends and actually come in. Unfortunately, I didn't start trapping until my late 30s. Found. That's pretty funny. Yeah, no, and that was just, I was just trapping for fun back then. All I did, I'd trap them and, look at them and then let them go. I probably caught the same possum like 4 or 5 times. Caught groundhogs and let them go, and raccoons, let them go, and stuff like that, and back then I was just kind of, tinkering with it in my backyard. My parents really didn't know anything about trapping or hunting or fishing or any of that stuff. So it was kind of learn and figure it out as I went. I really didn't get into trapping big time until I moved out to Arizona. And then I've just kind of been learning what I can over the years, and then really started doing it, with some intent to actually try and really trap hard over the last few years now. Yeah, you were going for the expensive ones, and those ones are not easy to. We'll leave it at that. Get off on a bad tangent there. But yeah. What else we got over here? I could have swore I left that stuff out here, and I can't find it anywhere. I had a whole container of silvervine and catnip. Probably big plastic container about that big. Bought it for like $12 on Amazon, and I can't find it anywhere. I have no idea what I did with it. I probably won't find it until I clean this shop. and then I'm sure I'll find it on some shelf where I thought it was a great idea to put it there. Which is how you end up finding most things that go missing. And you thought you had this awesome idea of where something was, and then it's not there. So yeah. What time we got here? Holy crap! It's almost 10 o'clock. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap this up here, guys. I got to get this stuff in the fridge and tidy it up here a little bit. Who else do we have here? Who just jumped on? Who do we got? Who just jumped on here? And we got Steve and Flint Hills. Who else is on? If you're not Flint Hills Trapper and you're not Steve, who are you? Who just jumped on to say hi? Or at least look at the feed here. Anyone? Bueller? Flint? Alright, Flint. We'll see you later, man. Yeah, I gotta get this kind of stuff packed up here. I'm gonna be cleaning up my mess from making bait, and I got some jars to clean up here and everything. But yeah, definitely save those glands and stuff from the cats. If you haven't seen the video I made on that, where the gland locations are on the cats, there's a video in my video feeds. Just go through that, and it's in there. I think I put it in the trapping videos where all those glands are and everything. And then I'm going to give this a try this year. I added some of this to my gland lure that I just made. But I may boil this down a little bit more and make it even more concentrated, and we'll try that in the back of cages too. I'll put that on some felt sticks or something in the back and see how that works out. But we'll make sure that we get some more lives going this year. Definitely start doing these again. All right, Steve. Good talking to you and seeing you. Hit you up soon. Say hi to the family for us. Will do, Steve. You do the same. Tell the family I say hi. Tell Lila again I say good job on her hunt, man. That was awesome. I love seeing that when a new hunter gets their first animal. That's just the coolest thing. If you guys haven't seen that, check it out in our Facebook group. Steve throws some video of that, of his daughter shooting her first deer, and nothing's better than seeing a little kid get their first deer, man. They are so pumped. It's just the coolest thing. So I love seeing that and seeing it being passed on to the next generation, and knowing it's going to survive another generation. I think that's just the coolest thing. And when we can get our little girls and stuff involved in it, that's even better, I think. And just, showing that anybody can get out there and go after go after hunting. Wow, it just bumped me off and put me back on there. Hope it didn't glitch too bad. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna bail here. I gotta get cleaned up and everything else. So we will catch you down the line, and you guys have a good night. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, Steve. All right, buddy. We'll talk at you later, bro. Night, guys.